Good morning, it's Glenda, aka GK Fralin. And I am here to tell you I have no story today, but I'm going to talk about a story. I'm going to talk about a story I want to do. It's a story of a story of a story. No. Justin, if you're there, I'm trying to put together something for you and your son from your elements, and I think they're great elements, don't get me wrong. Anyway, I'm going to try to do a kind of a pipe cleaner puppet show, and hopefully I'll get some beads to go on the pipe cleaners, just to make it a little interesting, so that they'll clatter on, make clacking noises, and so that they won't seem like something for a baby so much, something anybody could laugh at. Anyway, I thought I'd do a boy, his dog, and a treasure hunt. But I don't know where you live. I don't know if you're familiar with the country, or if you're familiar with the city, or both. I don't know. So I don't know what your son could identify with. I'm a rural kid. I'm very rural. I can take you to a pond, a lake. I could take him to a cave. I could take him to, all that kind of stuff. Taking him into a city and telling him how to find anything. If it's not a park that's got something in it, I don't know. I just wouldn't know how. Except if I get some details from you. I mean, all I need is just, I've been in a city, don't get me wrong. I've been in a city. But usually if you go to a city and you're not from there, you go for a reason, or you go to sightsee or whatever. I've been sightseeing in Washington, D.C., we've been to Dallas, we've been to Houston. Didn't do much sightseeing in Houston because, there was some stuff going on. We just kind of stayed in our hotel. But anyway, you get what I mean. We do now live in a small town. I can handle small town. The local general store or local Dollar General, that kind of thing. But I wanted to make an interesting story for a boy about his boy and his dog going on some kind of treasure hunter journey. So that might take me a day or two to work on. But if he's familiar, if he would be familiar enough, from books or whatever, then for me to take him through a treasure hunt in the country, that would be my pleasure. Because, going to a lake to try and find something in and around the lake, and running into a funny-looking snake, I don't know. My son is really the kind of son who is about snakes and snails and puppy dogs' tails. He loves his dogs. He picks up snakes. Oh, he's in his 40s. And a neighbor lady called him over and wanted him to kill a snake for her. Well, he killed it, but he doesn't have any qualms with getting up close. He knows if it's, I don't know, maybe you don't know it's poisonous, but anyway, we used to get garter snakes in our basement because they'd come up through the drain. We lived close to a river, and the kids would go down. My husband hates snakes, but our kids would go downstairs and they'd pick up those little garter snakes, those little brown and green ones that would come in up through the drain, and they'd play with them. We used to play with the little ringneck snakes. They look like a worm, except they've got a little bitty snake head, and they've got, not a viper-like, but just a rounded one, and but they've got a red ring around their neck. Okay, on with a true-to-life story yesterday, I asked Joe, I said, when I went in the room the other day, I didn't even think to look up at the ceiling to see what what the rafters looked like on the house after he ripped out the ceiling. I didn't rip out the ceiling. I said, you didn't? I said, well, I know you're going to lower it, but what if that ceiling comes loose? And then I thought, oh my gosh, I'm thinking out loud. That's the way I do that a lot. And he hears it and takes it so seriously. But anyway, but I was also surprised because he had wanted me to call and ask my son-in-law if he had the sheetrock jack, which what it is you put up, it's got like these boards on it that it's got, it's kind of like a big eye, except it's got the deal in the middle and then it's got on each end so that you can raise an 8 and a crank so that you can put a piece of sheetrock on it, 8x4 sheetrock, and you can crank it and you'll raise it up and it'll hold it to the ceiling so one man can, or one person can go ahead and attach it to the ceiling and work with it and not have to wrestle all over the place or call somebody to rescue him. And so I guess I assumed he was going to do that ceiling or rip it down. Well, he is going to replace it, but what he wants to do is lower it. And it never dawned on me that he wouldn't tear down that ceiling. This plaster and lath in this house is pretty solid. And you could tell that if you were here in the hammering the other day. I mean, he was really, he was really having to hammer that stuff hard to break it up. And I've tried to put a nail into this stuff. It don't go easy. So anyway, mostly what we've done is find already where there's already nail holes that we're using. Anyhow, so he got he started fussing. Not at me in particular, no, not at me. He got to fussing about if he should have taken it down. And I said, Joe, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought it up. You're right. You're going to lower it. It's a good solid ceiling. No, he starts in. You're right. That self-doubt. I planted the doubt. I did it. Shame on me. But anyway, so I'm supposed to get them to come and empty the dumpster that he's got all the other walls in. And once they've done, I'll just have them empty it, but we'll keep the dumpster so that he can rip out the ceiling. And anyway, and yeah, it's just the ceiling. That's the thing. It costs $45 for that dumpster to dump it, not to keep it, but to dump it. And I mean, yeah, we aren't going to. If you keep it too long, I suppose they'll probably want you to buy it. But they know us, and they know we're doing construction or destruction right now. But anyway, I did her. But if we have remodeled, this is the fifth house we've owned. That's not a brag thing. We get old, cheap houses, and we fix them up. We don't do it with the intent of flipping them, but it seems to be what we do. Although I can't say we make profit, but we get a lot out of living in them. So there you go. And sometimes it's just a joy to see it go on to a family who can enjoy it better. Actually, the first one, we got a little bit out of it, but we got 7 years of living in it. So, and then the second one is the one that we've had here in Wymore for like since 1984. And we've left it and come back. I think I covered that in another deal. But anyway, we've at least remodeled some portion of a house with every house we've been in, either remodeled or something. But most of them we've at least taken one room or one wall or something out of, where we've had to re-sheetrock, or we've had to, and we've had to, put in studs, something. Not so much in every one, but most of them, yeah, we've gutted. The big house over there that we had before this, we never did get the downstairs gutted, but the upstairs, most of the rooms were gutted. Because we had to start up there because the people who had lived there before, they had, I don't know how many kids. This was a retired couple. Their daughter bought it for them. Well, then, I don't remember if she lived there with them or not, but I know that some of their other kids lived there with their whole families. So it was a very lively house, and it had been a show house in its time, way back. But, people talked like it had been, a really nice house at one time. Of course, most houses are when they're first new, but anyway, I digress. It had been a really nice house and yard at one time. They had talked about how this other family had just had flowers and stuff everywhere. It was pretty much like, the yard was just kind of dumpy and weedy when we got it. Years of working on that. Volunteer trees and stuff along, So we had to get rid of a bunch of that. But the house itself, they had pretty much pulverized the walls upstairs. You could see where they'd taken hammers, and whacked it with hammers. Why, I don't know. You could see dart holes, from throwing darts. There's a difference between, I hate those calls. But anyway, I have pretty much filled up, I think, my time for today between talking about Justin and talking about the room and poor Joe, and now he's going to rip out that ceiling. So anyway, but I'll try to stay out of trouble by getting this story together for Justin. And Carly, yours is coming up. I'm dragging yours up last, not because of anything, because of you, but just because I just haven't got there yet, and I decided to do the others first. That's all. Besides, you gave me a black lace and sequin gown to figure out. Where am I taking it? The red carpet? Kidding. Maybe. I mean, you are an opera singer and a pianist, so maybe a concert. We'll see. I will give you no clue. I might just as well put you as a snail with a sequined and black lace nightie. That gives you a really weird picture in your head, believe me, because I just saw it. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Have fun. Pray for Joe. Send him some positive thoughts. Oh, hasta mañana.